Welcome to All Wheel Driven, a podcast by Audi Club North America, where we explore all things Audi and the incredible people who bring it to life. All Wheel Driven is presented by XPEL, the official paint protection film of Audi Club. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of All Wheel Driven. I am your host, Joe Kucinski. Today, I am joined by a couple of very special guests, Tara and Nish Pillai, a dynamic duo in the Audi and Porsche community. We're going to be talking today about their ownership experience of one of the rarest Audis ever made, the RS6 Avant, one of 25 Tribute Edition. And it's even more special once you hear about all of their modifications and special touches that they've done to the car. They also have on the Porsche side a one-of-one Nogaro Blue Porsche 911 GT3 RS in their garage, which we are really excited to talk about. And Tara is doing some great work with shaping the future of women in the automotive world from a design and enthusiast perspective. So welcome, Tara and Nish. Thank you so much for joining me today. And let's go ahead and get started at the beginning, at your origin story here. How did you get into cars? Did it start with Audi? What was the jumping off point for the two of you?
Go ahead, Tara. First, you
ladies. Your story is far more interesting.
Well, Joe, first off, thank you to you and to Audi Club for giving us the opportunity. You know, Tara and I have are avid followers and been club members, Audi Club members for, I think we have a lifetime membership. So really appreciate the support and the sense of camaraderie in the community. And thank you again for giving us the opportunity to share our story, or at least the passion that we have of how we've collected our cars. But to answer your question, well, I grew up around cars. My definition, if you see, how I introduce myself is husband, father, car nerd. I've always been a car nerd. I grew up around cars. My father was the GM of a Mercedes-Benz dealership. So the showroom and the workshop was my playground, right? So I learned about and the smell of gasoline, carburetors, exhaust. Might be annoying to a lot of people, but for me, that's what brings happy memories, right? When I came to this country, I came here for my studies. Cars was the number one reason I went to USC, because that was in Los Angeles. I wanted to be around cool cars, potentially design cars, and one of my projects at USC was hybrid cars. So as being a mechanical aerospace engineer, and so cars have always been in my blood. Unfortunately, my father felt I was a bit of a sellout because I did not start buying Mercedes, but I started my journey with the Volkswagen brand by acquiring my first car, which was a deep blue pearl Mark IV R32, which was a stopgap car while I'd ordered my Audi R8, gated no less, straight out of school. So that's been sort of my entry into the Volkswagen Audi, if you will, the family of cars. But I'll pass it on to Tara because, I think her story is even more interesting than mine.
Debatable. I think my first car was a Chevy Celebrity, if you know what that is.
Yeah, sure do.
Very exciting.
We all start with something like that.
Right. So I will say I was not a car enthusiast growing up. And even when I met Nish, I would say I was more of a passenger princess. He had the R32 at the time. And I remember visiting him in California. And I arrived and got settled. They said, "Oh, we're going to go out, for dinner if you want to get ready." And I remember going to get ready and, half hour goes by, 45 minutes goes by. I'm like, where did this guy go? So I call him. He's like, oh, I'm outside. washing, polishing my car. And I'm like, what's wrong with that? So slowly but surely, I think he chipped away and really exposed me. Initially, I think the idea of a car for me was to get safely from point A to point B. And he's really shown me, that they can be works of art and can be enjoyed and appreciated. And especially when we got to customizing our cars, I think that's how I slowly built up my passion for cars. So I think he's still working on me. I mean, I'm the one that's more practical and say like, okay, I think we have enough in the garage now. And then Nish is going to encourage me to keep growing the collection.
Right. Well, there's never enough in the garage. I will say that. And so you mentioned the practical side. Is that what got you into wagons? Right. So it's one thing to be into cars, but there's not as many wagon enthusiasts out there. So
and
what
again,
got you into wagons?
Coming from not knowing the world, when Nish first mentioned a wagon to me, I had that image of the station wagon from National Lampoons. Not a sexy car. What do I know?
Right.
But it really, I think, came from a place when Nish and I were getting serious in our relationship. My mother at the time had some mobility issues, and he went to pick her up. She had a walker, wasn't fitting in the R32. And little did I know, or did we know, that I was actually pregnant when Nish started looking for a new car. And he'd mentioned he had an R8 on order, so that got taken off the table, and that's when we started pursuing wagons. And again, this is he didn't really let in on how passionate he was about cars. I call him a car. I want to say this diplomatically. Enthusiast, I guess, is a good word. It's borderline obsessive compulsive. But we flew out to look at, and I'll let you talk about the Avant. That was the first time I saw a sport wagon and rode in a sport wagon before we got the RS6 and RS4. So that was kind of my first taste of that. And slowly, Nish built up kind of the class of wagons we attained. The RS4, blew me away in terms of the power. But yeah, I mean, I have kind of the more functional, I guess, taste. Having two kids, we need to be able to put groceries, soccer gear, go on road trips. So I think Nish introduced me to the world of the sport wagon, and we haven't looked back. So yeah, Nish, I'll let you peek out on the different wagons we've had.
So I'll just touch on something that Tara mentioned. So as we got married, we settled down in the DC area. I used to work from home, so I had the R32, and my late mother-in-law and I had such an amazing relationship that I used to take her to the different restaurants for lunch, and it was really difficult to take her walker and everything. So the next thing I was doing is I need to find a car that's going to be a combination of form and function. So wagons were the number one, and for me it was living in DC, driving in the snow, Quattro. Right, that was for me the number one thing from a safety, stability. And I've been following the Quattro journey since it was introduced with Michel Mouton and with Walter Roll. So so the next thing I did was I called the Audi dealer that we had the R8 on order, and he's like, "Hey, the car's about to arrive," and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I can't take delivery." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He was sad and happy at the same time, because he was sad that we had waited all this while to get a car, and then happy that he was going to make some money selling the car to someone that was on the list. So long story short, I was like, all right, we've got to find a replacement, and I found it was a corporate lease. An executive at Audi had checked every box on a B8 A4 Avant S line, and it had every option, right, from Alcantara seats to the RS4 wheels, and they had it for 8 months, and the executive actually was moved back to Germany, so he returned the car the car came up available at a dealership in LA. And I told Tara, I'm like, hey, let's go out to California for a weekend. And she's like, cool. All right, great. So little did I inform her that we would be looking at a car. We loved the car, transacted on it, and hey, we didn't have to pay for a taxi that weekend. We drove around in an A4 Avant S line, and that's how we started our journey with the Avants. And like Tara mentioned, it's the ultimate mix of practicality, functionality, fun, and of course they're rare because not a lot of wagons are. America doesn't get a lot of wagons, and for us, it was just the product that Audi was able to offer, the fun factor, and also the practicality. Another fun fact: our older one, Tyler, came home in an Audi wagon, right? So wagons have always been part of our journey as a family.
Nice. Love it. So that passion is passed down to your children. Are they car enthusiasts already as well?
I think so. I mean, I think initially they were food motivated. They would come to the Cars and Coffees in hopes of donuts, since I'm a little
Right.
on their sweets. But slowly but surely, they've come to appreciate the different cars. I don't know that they know how, I guess I would say, lucky they are to be riding around and being dropped off a car line in an
Sure.
RS6 or a GT3 RS.
Sure.
But they've learned good car etiquette. They went from my mom-mobile, eating all kinds of snacks to eating the safe snacks in their cars now, and educating their friends on how to care for cars. So I think they have passed. We have passed that down.
Nice.
Yep.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's been a great lesson learned for us. Also, wagons have been that happy medium where I went from no food in the car, right, Tara? So
Not
just to
even,
go,
no leftovers from the restaurant would come home in your cars. That's true.
yeah,
Yep.
to kids having their car snacks, and for them the RS6 or the RS4, the RS2 were they have a lot of memories with those cars, right? So we've been on road trips in them, and for them it's they talk very fondly about how comfortable this car is, how the RS2 had a bench seat at the back, to the RS4 used to make all these cool noises. So we buy cars. There needs to be a sense of occasion for each of our acquisitions, and each of them has built certain memories and experiences for us as a family.
Fantastic. Love it. That's great. So let's talk about a special wagon. Not that they're not all special, but a model that I think some Audi enthusiasts might not even know exists, right? And it's the RS6 Avant Tribute, and even the name itself may confuse some folks, and they hear tribute car, they think, all right, well, it's a model or something, right? Or it's a mock-up, it's a recreation or something like that. This car certainly is not that. There's only 25 of them that were ever built. What made you go after that car initially? Was it just the rarity? Was it something more personal? Why the Avant Tribute?
So for us, like you mentioned, there was only 25 builds. So when we came to know that the RS6 was coming to the United States, we were very excited, right? So we were at the Audi Nationals meet up in DC, where we had the opportunity to meet with Daniel Weisland, the now CEO of Audi America, Greg Boyasse, who used to run Audi exclusive program. And so when we came to know that the RS6 was coming, for us it was we wanted to build a very special RS6, and it was going to be about 3 to 5 friends of ours. We were all going to pick different colors and call it the Skittles gang, right? But for us, it was always going to be blue, because I've always been a blue always been passionate about the blue color. So originally we were thinking, let's build a sprint blue or something, a special blue. But then we came to know about, at that time, it was called the Nogaro Edition, right? It wasn't called the Tribute. And we saw some early renders of the car, what that car was going to look like, and then try to figure out how could we acquire one, right? While I went to find how we could acquire one, Tara was looking at from her aspect, with the yin and the yang. I'm the more the 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 functionality. Tara's more about the form, right? So Tara started looking at some of the renders and started coming up with ideas on how we could make it a one-off, right, Tara? So I don't know if you have any input there. So
Yeah, no, I think it's a beautiful car, but as Nish mentioned, we like unique things, like to make them personal. So I think just looking at the renders and seeing how we can make it uniquely ours, from a flat bottom steering wheel to the Alcantara headliner, to the puddle lights, to the custom center caps. And then, of course, once we got the GT3 RS, which we'll talk about later, how we did some further customizations on that to make it uniquely ours.
yeah. So Joe, as Tara mentioned, we took, so when we came to know, fast forward a couple of months, we got an allocation of the Tribute, worked with Audi Atlanta to get us the car. Um, you know, we started, even before the car arrived, we started ordering parts because I was tracking these cars everywhere, and I had paid a few people to find me pictures of the cars when they landed, because the cars arrived, all of them, in Davisville, in Rhode Island, was one of the ports. And so I started seeing some pictures, and it was clear to us that Audi had really built this special car. All of them, all 25 of them, thankfully, were Nogaro Blue with all the heritage. They had checked every box, if you will, from the interior, a very Audi exclusive interior with denim stitching, Valcona leather everywhere, laser engraved. But there were still areas where we thought, we've got a great baseline. How can we make it even more unique, right? And so what Tara and I did was we took what we had seen in the early renders. So, again, I'm geeking out here, but my apologies. But the cars were all Nogaro Blue with what you call as the black optics package, right? So the front blades, the splitter, mirrors. So those were all areas where the black optics package was applied. We preferred the contrast of when the render had a combination of aluminum optics, black optics, and the Nogaro color. So we went on a journey of working with various people to find the part numbers, go order the parts from Europe. So we initially, swapped out a whole bunch of parts on the car, try to make it even special. Like Tara mentioned, the car had a round steering wheel. The European car got a flat bottom steering wheel. So we bought a flat bottom steering wheel. Then we worked with E3 Customs to make sure we had the right denim stitching on it with a 12 o'clock marker. We changed out the headliner to Alcantara headliner, but it had to have the matching denim stitching. If you're going to do it properly, right?
Absolutely.
And then the search started for, what could the car have, right? So again, geeking out here, the last edition of the C7.5, the RS6, just before the C8, they had a special edition called the Nogaro edition, and it was it was a C7 RS6 Plus, and it had an Akrapovic exhaust. So I reached out to Audi of North America and I said, "Is there a plan to offer that as an option for the C8 platform? Because we love the sound, and if we're going to do it, we try to associate ourselves with the best brands that are out there. So for us, Akrapovic was the best. So we installed an Akrapovic exhaust. We got an intake from Venturi, which, the carbon matches the carbon of the car. The interior was modified with all the OEM parts. So the center console was piano black. We had that changed to Alu optics or carbon fiber. The Nogaro edition, or the cars in the US, in Europe, had all these little areas which says 25 RS because it's 25 years to the RS2. So we, through our contacts, were able to get the 25 RS pieces that included the puddle lights, the door cards, the center caps. I don't like ambers, as Tara knows, or the orange markers on all our cars. So,
Right.
to Tara's chagrin, we acquired Euro Matrix headlights. And the little known geeky fact is that instead of the ambers, the Euro headlights, the pieces are carbon fiber. And then you can do a full matrix headlight, which has the lasers turned on. So, yeah, that was sort of the version 1.0 of making our car unique. So, just some little bits. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of bits and bobs that are not that are in the car, but at least that's what we felt was to make it take a one of 25 to building a one of one.
Yeah. No, that's great. And then, Nish or Tara, do you do any of the wrenching, if you will, or do you leave that up to other folks? Are you installing any of these parts? Are you tinkering under the hood or anything like that, or do you
definitely not
leave
me?
That? Yeah.
Yeah, great question, right? So we rely on the experts, right? Because these cars are, there's a fine balance between modifying a car and the warranty. So we are very careful about that. And so, there are no drivetrain mods, if you will, on our car besides the exhaust and the intake, because just out of the box, the car is just amazing. 591 horsepower. You don't need anything more than that. Even though Tara has called our RS6, the license plate says slow wagon. It is it's the irony. But no, we've done a lot of these mods to make it as OEM plus as possible. But most of the wrenching we leave it with the Audi dealerships, or certified installers that we work with and have worked with for years.
Fantastic. So obviously you've put a lot of thought and work into this car, into all your cars. Do you wish that, Audi obviously worked with you and helped get you some of these parts and so forth, but do you wish that Audi as a manufacturer would offer kind of a more tailored type of, personalization program where you could order a car like this exactly like you want, with all these bits and bobs on it, right from the factory? It shows up at your doorstep, with your vision. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I would love to see that, having gone through that experience with Porsche, with their Sonderwunsch program. I mean, that was the pinnacle for me, to really just sit down and kind of, the world is your oyster, colors, textures. That's really an experience, I think, and that really honed in my passion for cars. So I think that would be a great addition if Audi incorporate something like that.
Yeah. No, I definitely second that, right? So, Joe, Audi has great heritage, right? As a brand, the history, the products that it has, right? Our personal view is that Audi has a great opportunity and upside to engage enthusiasts, club members, non-club members, to really build and engage with the enthusiast community via these programs, right? It's a great opportunity. At the end of the day, every car, a lot of people buy a car to go from point A to point B, but enthusiasts, these cars are a representation of their brand or their personality, right? And you go to car meets, you go to Cars and Coffee or any of these car shows, and we we see Audis, and we're like, wow, that is so cool. That's an extension of somebody's, personality, and we truly believe that Audi, if they could offer something like a personalization program, would really help in engaging the community even more, right? Let alone the obvious, which is it's a great revenue stream. Sandwich program is great revenue. Everybody wants to paint a sample. We firmly believe if the Audi exclusive program could be enhanced, it creates engagement. And it's a top down engagement because if you have people who have the means and the desire to, you know, customize a high end product like an RS6, then you
Mhm.
start looking at the rest of the family. Hey, do you want a car for the kids? Do you want a
Right.
car for, as they're growing up? So it's a trickle down effect because what you call is it's a hook effect, right? Then you bring that in, and ultimately, if Audi can focus on delighting the customer, delighting the enthusiast, I believe they've got a great future ahead.
Yep. Great. That's great. So you've got this RS6, you did this work to it. It's a beautiful thing. It's one of ones, but a lot of people would just, okay, we're going to park it. We're going to put it under a little, bubble wrap and we'll take it out. Maybe we'll take it to a Cars and Coffee once or twice. Nish and Tara are not most people. What I know of you. That's not how you treat your RS6, is it?
No, I mean it's somewhat of a daily driver. I mean, I think we may have a daily for our daily at this point. But, initially, yeah, I mean that was doing the school car line drop offs. It's going to groceries. It's going on long road trips up to the Treffen from Tampa. So I mean we've really used it. And to Nish's earlier point, it's just that perfect, beauty, form, function. You've got the power, the aesthetics, but there's room for the kids. And yeah, we love it. We think it's just a great, it's the ultimate Uber wagon.
Yeah. Now, I think more than anything, the RS6 has shown us that Audi made the right call by bringing that car to the US, right?
Mhm.
And then the RS6 particularly, ours, we've been using it. It's opened up. It's allowed us to meet so many different people. It's allowed us to build so many relationships. How can you miss a beautiful blue wagon that makes all the right noises and looks
Right.
cool just standing there, right? uh but the interesting part is you can't go anywhere without the car not being tagged, or someone coming in asking you, hey, what's up with this car?
Right.
We 5 years in, we don't we see these cars as asset classes, but at the same time, to your point, we don't put them on trickle chargers and sitting in bubble wrap. We have 25,000 miles on the car, 5 years. Now that's not a lot of miles, now, because Tara keeps on buying more cars every 6 months, but that's a separate topic. um, but that is our if I have a choice amongst all our cars, the RS6 is my first choice because it's just so much fun. You
Right.
can where it's like a Cadillac in like comfort mode and no noises. It's a great road trip car. To Jared's point, we went up to the RS6 Treffen at the Poconos Raceway all the way from
Mhm.
Tampa, and a great event organized by Ray Reyes and the Audi, supported by the Audi Club. And we've done several Audi Club events everywhere with this car with the kids. And we use it to drop our kids. And to our chagrin, the car line people keep on banging the doors, even though they know it's soft close. And we've had to replace the door mechanism a few times, but so be it, right? Our kids, learn. They're like, please let me open and close the door. So they'll close it and they'll softly close the door. But it's just so much fun. And it's a car that is going to be very difficult for us to replace. And we just haven't found another product out there that any other manufacturer is able to offer that is better than the RS6, in our humble opinion.
Sure. So let's talk about a little bit of the inspiration of that RS6. So we'll go back in Audi history a little bit. The first RS, the RS2 Avant, which I know you're both also owners and fans of. And again that Nogaro blue that draws you and so many fans too. What made you hunt down the RS2 Avant?
Interesting question. So when I look back, people have posters of Countaches and Ferraris and all these exotic cars. I had a poster of a Nogaro Blue RS2 on my wall. Watching the heydays of the Ur Quattro being rallied around by Michel Mouton, by Walter Roll. And then having the luxury and we're very lucky we got to spend time with Tom Christensen. It was always our dream. They say there's a figure of speech: never meet your heroes. Actually, we think of the other way, which is always meet your heroes, right? Because then you're like, okay, this is why this is a legend, right? So when we got the 6, around the dinner table, Tara and I were chatting. It's like, wouldn't it be cool to be one of the few owners in the opportunity to own the pair? And Tara says, absolutely, I'm going to go buy an RS2, right, Tara? That's how it went down, right?
Sort of.
So we started the search for the RS2, but we were looking for a very specific RS2. So, being married to the most amazing woman, you have to get the most amazing cars. So we were looking for an RS2 that had the right provenance, was well documented. At the end of the day, you buy the owner or the seller rather than the car. But we were also looking for some specific options that the car was certified by Audi Tradition, was Nogaro blue, had the blues, the blue seats, the blue carbon. I don't know if most people know, but actually the RS2 was one of the first cars that had tinted carbon inside the car. And the, to Tara's chagrin, the non-airbag seat, but in blue Alcantara, right? There are also again, there's word in the enthusiast community that there were few cars that actually left Zuffenhausen, where the car was built, without catalytic converters. Supposedly there were 20 cars. And how we came to know was our car had that option deleted from factory and was certified by Audi Tradition. So we found the car in Spain, being sold by a collector, and we acquired the car, and it landed. Jamie Orr brought the car, imported the car for us, and it went through a 13-month restoration, right, babe, at Speed Sport Tuning. And so the dream of owning the pair is what really drove us to acquire the RS2.
Well, and now that you have the pair, do you see the lineage between the two when you drive the RS6? Does it feel like the RS2 at all? Some hints of it, or is it just two completely different beasts that feel like they're from a different company? Or can you immediately tell, yeah, these are two sporty Audi wagons?
Tara, what's your point of view on that? You've been in both, so.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question. I think, yeah, if you were to kind of go back in the time capsule, you could see the genesis for sure. The initial lines, the colors. But for me, I mean, the RS6 is a completely different beast. I mean, just from a power standpoint and the comfort. Although the RS2 is very comfortable. The boys actually have an easy time getting in and out of there. So it is very functional, very comfortable and beautiful. But I don't know, Nish, what your take is on that.
So we definitely see the lineage, right? So if you look at the original tribute that came from factory, you can see why they did, from an aesthetics point of view, certain things, right? Now, going back to your original question about Audi exclusive and like Sonderwunsch, um, we definitely would have taken advantage of that program to bring in the blue carbon, certain things. But I think, both the cars, one's a 5-cylinder turbo, the other one's a V8 twin turbo. You do feel that turbo boost. Especially, but in the RS2, it's more pronounced, with a K24 turbo. It's like that boom, like there's nothing, and then the boom, you just go, right?
Right.
That surprised Tara. I think the similarity also is when you go to places, when we've taken the two cars together, people are a little surprised. They're like, wow, I didn't know Audi made this. Wow, I didn't know Audi made this too. But it's, and then of course, the Porsche lineage, right? We presented the car at Radwood and at a media island a couple of years ago, and a gentleman came up to me and said, "Hey man, are you not happy with all the Audi stuff that you had to put Porsche stickers on this car?" And he didn't say it just once. He said it a few times, and I could make out that Tara makes fun of me. I was like, all right, let's go with it, right? So I said, unfortunately, I couldn't get the original Audi, stickers and the logos. So the only option I had to get the car ready for Amelia was to go to Alibaba, and the only emblems that they had Porsche in them. So I just didn't have time. So I put, the Audi and the Porsche, and the Audi brakes were not available. So I had to put Porsche brakes and, and stuff like that. And he's like, what about the manifold? Because it's got Porsche written on it, powered by
Right.
Porsche. And I said, yeah,
Right.
I didn't have time. I just took one from another Porsche and just put it on this, and I guess it works, So what do you do, right? But I think owning the pair. We've showcased the pair a few times. It's very interesting reactions we get, right? It The RS2 is a car. The way I look at it is, if you know, right?
Right.
Most people don't know about the RS2. They think their knowledge of Audi has been or Quattro. They see it on TV or in print media. Didn't know the history, and so it's a great conversation starter, and people want to know, where was this car produced, and you start talking about the Porsche and the Audi lineage and the Mercedes lineage with the 500e, and that just
Right.
opens up a lot of conversation.
Right. No, it's great. So that's a perfect segue. The Porsche lineage and the tie in there to one of your other toys in your garage, the 911 GT3 RS. That is a true one of one, thanks to your special vision with that car. Like the RS6, GT3 RS is pretty special out of the box. But you had a different vision. So tell us a little bit about your Nogaro Blue GT3 RS.
I can start, and I think it circles back to your earlier question of having a program like that not exclusive. I mean, this was almost, I would say, like giving birth to a child. I mean, it was a long journey. What was it, 18 months from start to finish, I think. And it was daunting, I have to say. It's almost like when you're building a home, you can do whatever you want. So, how do you hone in and decide, what's going to be your special car? But as Nish mentioned, I think what's important to us is to have something unique, to have something that speaks to heritage. And so I think, blue, we're known for blue cars. Anytime there's a special blue car listed, I think Nish gets a minimum of 20 calls about it. And so we knew it had to be blue, but what blue, right? What blue do you do? And so I think we tried several, right, babe? I forget which ones we were.
We tried Club Blau.
Right.
We tried Club Blau, Maritime Blue, and Nogaro Blue with the top three choices.
Yeah, and it just we went up to the Porsche Experience Center just to be able to touch and feel everything, and the Nogaro just clicked for us, right? Having had the RS2, the Audi Tribute, and then to have the Porsche Nogaro, I think it just tied everything together, and so we really wanted to make it kind of a gentleman's spec in the interior. If you've seen the inside with the Sally Pepita. And the outside with that Porsche decal is just wild. So for us, it was very special. And of course, picking it up in Germany and driving it on the roads, where it was meant to be driven, was just an unbelievable experience. But again, Nish can geek out on the the details. I was in charge of the aesthetics, and I hope I did a good job. I think we're happy with it.
The aesthetics are man. I mean, the car looks obviously looks amazing. But how did you? So, like, I mean, I go into a Baskin Robbins, I can't figure out what flavor ice cream I want, right? Like, how did you figure out with the like unlimited selections basically in front of you? How did you narrow it down to, what you ended up building?
I mean, it was painstaking. I want to say there were at least 18 different iterations we went through, right? And then, as I mentioned, we went up to the center in Atlanta with Porsche just to be able to see the materials. And then we also hired Carrera Designs, who was able to make some renders for us. Because I'm not good at walking in and seeing a blank slate. I needed to kind of see more or less how it would look because we were doing a lot. And I think there's a fine line when you can do anything doesn't mean you should do everything, right? Because then it's too loud, it's too much. So I think we had many iterations. It was difficult, and then it's a little nerve wracking until you finally saw it. Like, did we, go one step too far? Is it too much? But babe, I'll let you weigh in on your experience.
Yeah, I know. Thank you. So I have a couple of like memories from this whole process, right, Joe? So we're no Seinfeld, we're no Ingram, we're no Spike Fairstein, but our goal was always is that the art of possible, right? So how can someone like us, we're Audi enthusiasts for years, but we were new to the Porsche community, right? So for us, it was how could we build something that would speak to who we are as collectors, right? So and it took a village, I must say, to build the car that we have now. That funny enough is that I track every weekend at the Enclave, so here in Tampa. But it's in some ways a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? The tagline is "You dream it, and we will build it." So who better with better taste in my life than Tara? So I'm like, Tara, you're leading the charge, and words can't describe how amazing the cars come out. But for folks like us, doing this for the first time, like Tara mentioned, it was daunting. So it does take a village to take something, an idea, right? That you're like, is this possible? And so behind me, you'll see there's some posters of we actually captured the process because people were asking, it's like, how did you go about? So a few steps there as to how we started, some of the decisions we made, the color of the car, and then selfishly we wanted it to be the only a one of one. So everybody used to ask me, what's the color going to be? And I had this hideous paint render that I had made and there were a lot of colorful comments made to me about my lack of taste or lack thereof, right?
Right.
Mhm. But we worked with Anthony at Carrera Design, Porsche Clearwater, our sales folks, Larry Wood, and we came up with sort of the basics, right? What's the color of the car going to be? We highlighted 3 colors, looked at Renbao, reached out to a whole bunch of his Porsche historians. The feedback we got on Club Blau was it's a club color. It's for the Porsche Club.
Right.
We are members of the Porsche Club, but every 10 years they come with a homage car. So
Right.
so we felt, okay, that's great. We looked at maritime blue because the 964 RS was a maritime blue color, but this car had a wing that's more of a touring color. So we had that as a plan B. But then, Tara and I, even the kids, we kept on coming back to Nogaro Blue. It's like, oh, how cool would it be? Like, we had the Nogaro Blue wagon collection, the pair. How cool would it be to have the ultimate 2-car solution in Nogaro Blue? And then Tara went to town on the interior. I remember a story like it was yesterday. We were designing the car, and Tara's like, I can't figure these things out on render. She's like, Nish, you're an engineer. You can see these things. So we flew out to Atlanta. Looking back, I think that was the best decision, and I would encourage if anybody has the opportunity to do that. We went to the studio, the Zonderwunsch studio in Atlanta, where we could touch and feel the materials. And then, literally they showed us, you can do all of this. And they have this blow up diagram, and that says, you can modify this, you can modify this. And we were like, could we see that in person? So we took the next step, and, they took us for a tour to the museum. And Tara knows exactly the story I'm going to tell, which was, so the GT3 RS, it's a race car for the street. So it has a lot of Alcantara race tex material, and Tara's more luxury oriented person. And she's like, I don't really like this material, albeit our 997.23 RS has Alcantara from factory. She's like, what's the art of the possible? And if you ask Porsche folks, what's the art of the possible, they will show you what's possible.
Right.
Wrong question to ask, right? But Mason Doran, who was our Zonderwunsch specialist in concierge, he was great. And so they took us down to show us a couple of cars of the Ingram collection. And we made some big choices there, right, babe? What are the things you decided? From Jerry Seinfeld and
across the chain, and that's when I also decided the pass through to make it a shiny blue would have been too busy. To my earlier point, Joe, it's like, when you're doing a lot, you have to decide where you want the eye to focus when you're looking at it. But I will say, as amazing as it was, I definitely learned a lesson, because it's like being in a Michelin restaurant. Like, there were no prices. I was just looking at options. So in my mind, I thought, okay, let's add the blue thread into the cross stitching. It wasn't registering, and I was not keeping a tab. But I guess it was a once in a lifetime goal, and I think it came out beautifully. So maybe it was good that I wasn't bound by the cost, because it might not look the way it does.
Yeah. No. If I were to summarize, I think it's all about the experience, right? And Porsche has done an amazing job of within the feasibility. So they set realistic expectations with you, and our goal was in each of our cars, we have an outcome we're trying to achieve, a theme, and Tara's theme for the 3RS was, we really liked the finish called Ceramica, which is a finish created by Porsche for the 911 ST. So we want to incorporate Ceramica, which is a pearlescent white, flat white, metallic, Nogaro blue and black, and that's the theme that the 3RS is built on. So Tara kind of incorporated that throughout the car, down to the shift pattern. So if there's truly Porsche geeks who see our car, they're like, an RS always has yellow incorporated. That's the Rain Sport color.
Right.
Well, our shift pattern, the GT3 RS, certain aspects that are yellow are all chalk or blue or black. So everything has been built one off, if you will, for the car.
Nice, amazing. So you had your RS6 Avant Tribute. You did all your special touches. You drive that, take the kids to school and so forth. But the GT3 RS, that's really special, right? You went to Porsche, you did a special wish program. You spent all this time coming together with this perfect car with your vision. So surely you don't drive that car like on the track or anything, do you, Nish?
Uh, again, that car is, I would say, amongst all my peers that I have three RSs, I'm the only fool who drives a one-off one car on the track every weekend.
I love that.
So, case in point, we spent almost a month in Europe. So we did European delivery. You do the Sonderwunsch program, you do a PTS. If you're going that far, you might as well, exercise European delivery. And,
Sure.
Thanks to the relationship Tara has built with, the leadership at, Porsche AG and PCNA, we were given the opportunity, and we loved traveling in Europe with that car. So even before the car arrived to the US, she had clocked 1,400 miles, right, babe? Yeah, we did 4 countries, 1,400 miles, and it was just the most amazing trip, road trip that Tara and I have done. It is possible to, contrary to popular belief, 2 roller bags and a duffel bag and a computer backpack does fit behind the seats of a 3RS.
Nice.
But yeah, and the car arrived here, and we worked with all the partners that we have. The car has just 2 mods. One is an exhaust by Dundon. It's a full titanium Inconel setup because the car's got to sound like a Formula One car.
Sure.
The car's so wild, it's got to sound wild, right? But Tara was very clear. She said it does not have to stink. She does not want to see any check engine light on the dashboard.
Right.
We live here in Tampa, in South Tampa, so the neighbors, you don't want it noisy, so it's valved. But to your point, she is exercised every weekend at the Enclave, and it is the most amazing car to drive. Now I know why people, pay top dollar for these cars, because just out of the box, it's literally my 20-minute drive is my warm up.
Right.
Hot laps, and my 20-minute drive is my cool down back home, and I don't have to do anything on that car.
Love it. Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's another thing that makes the two of you so special is not just the cars, but the way you treat them like cars, and making the memories. Once the car is delivered, not doing more than just walking by it in the garage. I think that really makes you stand out and unique in the enthusiast world. So kudos for not only building them but driving them and sharing them and letting other folks see them. So that's fantastic. And then so speaking of builds, right? We talked about the RS6, the mods you've done, but there's more mods coming. You're doing you mentioned earlier kind of 1.0. Is there a 2.0 on the horizon?
Yeah. So Tara, do you want to talk about 2.0? What was your vision?
No, go ahead. I don't know what you've shared yet, so I don't want to give away any spoilers. So you go ahead.
No. So while we were in Europe, this things are always churning, right? So we were just chatting and say, all right, we've had the RS6 for 5 years. Now that we have the 3RS, the vision of having the ultimate two-car solution. Again, for us, right? It's personal, right? People might say, well, there's other cars with the ultimate two-car solution, but for us, the practicality, the RS6, the just the rawness of that car with the a track weapon that we even take our kids sometimes in the 3RS. We wanted to make it even more unique. And as Tara said, I think I love the catchphrase that she came up with. How about we brought the Audi into the Porsche with the Nogaro Blue and the touches. How about we bring the Porsche into the Audi, right? Little backstory. Audi came out with the RS6 GT, and we were very keen to acquire one. We spoke to the relevant leadership at Audi of North America, try to get our arms around. Would it be possible to come up with a unique RS6 GT? And then what was communicated to us was 85 cars were coming stateside, and for the geeks, for the Audi geeks, I'm sure a lot of people know. The rest of the world has got the 6 GT, the RS6 GT in 3 colors, right? Nardo gray, black, and white. Our feedback to the leadership at Audi was, wouldn't it be cool? Just the art of possible. If you're going to bring 85, bring 20 of gray, 20 of white, 20 of black. And for enthusiasts like us, 25 unique cars, right? Build one-off ones. And we said, where do I sign on the dotted line, right? Because we have the Tribute. We wanted to have the first unique one and then the last unique one. Unfortunately, Audi's going through a lot of transition. The decision was made that all 85 of them would be white, with the IMSA decals. So we were offered a GT, and then I think I've mentioned that in the last podcast. We respectfully declined the car. It wasn't blue, unfortunately. Nor could we explored wrapping it blue, but no wrap company has Nogaro Blue wrap. But still, fake it till you make it, right? We didn't know what to do. So we decided, what could make the car unique, and Tara said, why not we build a GT of our own based on the Tribute? So we said, So I went searching for the best of the best in terms of the body kit. So we collaborated with DrapTech, and if you're going to do it, then push the envelope. So the DrapTech kit that we have in the car is painted in Nogaro Blue and pinstriped with Nogaro Blue. We said, what could we do in terms of the wheels? And so we found Void Engineering. And Tyler was extremely patient with us. And we said, we've got this amazing center lock wheel on our 3RS in Ceramica. Would it be possible to do an exact wheel on the 6? And as you can imagine, the RS6 is not a center lock mechanism. So trying to figure out what that. So we were able to build faux center lock wheels with Ceramica paint from Porsche, with the 3RS Tara's built with the coins and the center lock in Nogaro Blue with the RS. So we acquired original Porsche center lock mechanisms, and we put that on the 6. And then to pay homage to the heritage of Audi, we wanted to do like decals on the 3RS in Ceramica. We did a Quattro decal on the RS6. So we'll be sharing, Audi Club. You guys have been gracious enough. We'll be showcasing the cars both together. So you'll be seeing the cars in person. So for now, and then we did some additional mods, and there's a blue laser now turned on. So it's the car again in the theme of this. The 3RS is all Ceramica, black, and Nogaro blue. So they, right. So Tara had a vision. and I executed on the vision. I know, Tara, from your side, any points of view?
Yeah, no, I think we just wanted to make it cohesive, right? And we talked about cars being extensions of your personality. So I think we developed this theme that really resonates with us. And I think it makes the collection, the garage, cohesive and interesting. And so for now, that's it. But I know with Nish, it's never never the end. So there's more to come, I'm sure.
Got it. So it's perfect for now, right?
Apparently.
For now, yes. But
Right.
the Audi's built such an amazing car, and we enthusiasts love these cars. They're just amazing, just on their own. Yeah, we've put our little tweaks and touches here, but just overall, every time we take the six out, it amazes us. And we were out the other day with the kids, and knock on wood, everything works, right? And everything works so well. The German engineering, right? And just the amount of investment Audi's put into these products 5 years in, it's beautiful,
That's amazing. That's amazing. Um, so, Tara, focus on you for a little for a moment here, if we can. So, as a woman car enthusiast, what's your journey been like? Right, not only are you an enthusiast, obviously, but you're a designer. I mean, you've as Nish said, as we've talked about. I mean, you have this vision. You've got ideas, even though hey, Audi builds a beautiful car, Porsche builds a beautiful car, but it's Tara has her own vision. What's that been like, from a woman's perspective, and advice that you would give maybe to other women out there that are interested in maybe following your footsteps?
Yeah, I think I guess it's never too late to find a passion. As I mentioned, it wasn't kind of a lifelong passion like Nish, and I'm sure many of the enthusiasts have. But I met the love of my life and learned about cars along the way. And initially it was like, okay, these cars are cool. But then as I realized, the more I was exposed to them and rode in them, there's no going back. I won't throw any other manufacturers under the bus. But I remember when I was looking for my car, my daily driver, I said, I don't need all these fancy cars, these German cars. I can just get whatever. You can use the budget for your passion. And I had a tough time because I was by the German engineering, right? By the luxury of it all, by the speed, the performance. And so slowly but surely, I think Nish influenced that and exposed me to, the possibility of cars and the beauty of them. And I think once you start to modify them and make them your own, at least for me, that's what sparked my interest, the creativity, the art behind it, and of course the performance and the power. So I think my advice would be is, it can seem daunting. I think as a woman, you may not have grown up around cars, so to speak. You might not, I don't know all the history, and I don't geek out perhaps as much as Nish, but you can still have a profound appreciation. And I think the two of us together, we're kind of the yin and the yang, right? I mean, he knows way more than anyone should know about many different cars, the heritage, history, and then tying that in with the artistic side, the aesthetics, and then making something truly unique. I think that's become a passion that we can both enjoy. Now, I don't enjoy, let's say, being the passenger on the tail of the dragon. I feel like I'd rather be behind the wheel. So that is not something I personally enjoy. I'm looking for like the driver's ed brake pedals, on the passenger seat. So I think it's just about finding what speaks to you. Is it the performance? Is it the aesthetics? What brand, what model? And I think the events are becoming more inclusive, which is nice to see. So maybe just, finding someone to mentor you. And now, of course, you can research and, the world is your oyster. Find what speaks to you.
Yeah. I would say, Joe, it's like, and I've seen Tara grow in the car community. And then we've seen, to Tara's point, a lot of the events really being more inclusive of. So I'll give you an example: Amelia Island, right? So we've displayed our cars every year at Amelia. We've had the good fortune of winning Amelia. A couple of years with different cars. Funny enough, is our RS4 Avant build won Amelia Cars and Coffee Best of Show. And we're like, wow, this is cool. Now what car do we get? And we achieved that with one of our Porsches. But just the focus on the inclusiveness, not just of women but also children, right? We've seen that. Tara, has built some really good relationships at PAG with Rebecca Seidel, who runs the European delivery program. Heidi Larson, Grant Larson, who was the designer of the Boxster and the 918 CGT. She's on the board of Porsche AG. Very good. So it's all about, at the end of the day, it all comes down to people, right? And Tara's a diplomat. She's much better with people than I am, and so the yin and the yang works. And it's such a, is as a car geek, it's such a, I'm like a proud dad moment when I'm like, Tara's in the car event and she's enjoying it, and then she asks me questions, and there are times when she has facts, and I'm like, whoa! I'm like, wow, that's so cool. So I think we both have grown as collectors, as car owners, but I think the best moment is when for me was watching Tara see, like she said, childbirth, right? She was at Zuffenhausen at the delivery bay, and they took the covers off the car, and the look on her face was just amazing, and that's going to be a memory that's going to be forever etched, for us.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. So you started talking about the community and the culture around the cars. Nish, whether you know it or not, you're known as the RS Avant guy right here in the States. So how'd that come about? What's the response been from the community to the two of you and your car collection?
So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I'll let that one be. I would say I do want to thank Tara for supporting this vice of mine, right? She always tells me, listen, you don't drink, you don't smoke. We've been married 15 years, and if this is something that you're passionate about, then let's go about. Just as for the record, there is a Nogaro Blue RS4 for sale right now, which I am looking at, but that's a separate topic. But it's not an Avant; it's a sedan. So little lower in my priorities. But again, if you are the way we look at it in these cars is, if you're going to acquire something that's going to make you happy. And I always tell folks, when they ask me, in my opinion of buying a car, I said, if you get out of the car and you walk away, and if that car doesn't make you look back, then you bought the wrong car, right? That's just it. If it doesn't make you happy, and if it doesn't, then it's almost like being in the wrong relationship, right? So for us, more than the cars, it's the community, it's the friendships that we've built. Tara has some funny stories of me getting phone calls, right? I don't know, Tara, if you want to mention that.
Well, you mentioned that I was supportive of your advice. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't chase women. So, I mean, if I come down, and if you're wrestling downstairs at midnight, my first thought is not, oh, like, who's he talking to at midnight? My first thought is, oh, he must be talking to someone on the West Coast about, I call him like Jake from State Farm, right? Everyone likes to get Nish's opinion on, should I do this? Should I get this car? So there's calls coming in all the time. I tell him, he should quit his day job because, people are just, calling him nonstop for his advice. But I mean, I think he has that Midas touch in terms of, knowing what's unique and different and looks good. So it was a little daunting. Sometimes people try to be like, "Oh, are you RS Wagon's wife?" I'll just be like, "This is creepy," but okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. But it has really helped us. Take case in point this podcast, right? We've had the pleasure of meeting you, and build a strong relationship with Audi Club and Chris and the team, right? So we're very fortunate, right? We're very lucky that we are getting to share our story and build these long lasting relationships. That's what it's all about. Cars come, cars go. For us, it's all about the camaraderie, helping people, paying it forward. So, kids come and say, "Listen, I love your car. Have a seat." you know it's about supporting the next generation of enthusiasts. I had such a proud dad moment the other day. My kids they were saying, well, the new blue 3RS is our favorite car. I was like, yes. I was like, finally, right? And so that's what it's all about, Joe. The monikers are great, but for us it's all about the love of these cars, the camaraderie, the friendships within the club, and just helping other enthusiasts, understand a story, and it's a sense of community.
Yeah. Love that. Love it. So the big question, right? What's next? More builds, more cars. You got an Nogaro Blue RS4 coming out here.
That was news to me, but
Yeah. So Tara, you want to break the news? Go ahead.
well, so I think I was bitten by the bug of the custom design. So even as we were picking up the GT3 RS in Zuffenhausen, we were already thinking about what the next custom built car could be. I mean, it's just such a fantastic process. So I think that's what's next on our plate. I know Nish likes to keep a close hold, so I won't divulge. Nish, you can share what you'd like to share at this point, but I think
No,
that's the next.
so again, for us, it's about the art of the possible, and building what's something unique, right? We are fortunate enough to be offered. So Porsche has a program through Sonderwunsch, called the Sonderwunsch Inspirations. Then there is your restoration program, and then there's one-off builds. So we just happened to run into the greatest Porsche designer, Grant Larson, while we were in Zuffenhausen, who's now a dear friend of ours. And we were like, typically you've got to have a relationship with Porsche for 25, 30 years. And then they think about, opening up the kimono to show you what's inside. And we just hit it off. So, we Tara and I, we try to treat people the way we want to be treated. And, folks like, Alexander Fabi, who runs of all Sonderwunsch and manufacturer, I just happened to mention to him and his team, Arda, and then says, what would it take for us to build a one-off with Porsche? And we were surprised by their answer. They're like, would you be interested? I'm like, absolutely. Why not? So that's what we're exploring with Porsche. But that's a long lead. That's a 3 to 5 to 8 year process. So to build these one-offs. So I think that's the ultimate goal. I'm sure there'll be lots of pit stops between that car and other cars.
Right.
Tara keeps on buying all her bucket list cars. So what can I say? I'm not going to
I
stop.
have a problem, apparently.
Right. That's exciting. That's amazing. Well, Nish, Tara, I'm free the next 3, 5, 7 years. So if you need any, help or advice
I
or
love it.
anything, pick it out to your building your custom Porsche. Let me know. Happy to partake. No, that's really exciting. That's fantastic. Um, so how can listeners follow you folks? What's the best way to keep track of your builds? What you got next in the garage? Instagram, YouTube. You have build pages. Folks can follow. What's the best way to stay in touch?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, right? So within limitations of NDAs, we always try to share what we're doing, especially from the car front point of view. So we do have our car Instagram, which is RSWGNS. Now, why do you ask? It's RS wagons, is because we have RS cars and we have RS wagons. So that's primarily where we post a lot. We do have a YouTube channel, which my kiddos have encouraged that I post more, because they're on YouTube and they think I could be a YouTube influencer, which I have no desire to. But just to keep them happy, I have a YouTube channel. But primarily, Joe, what we try to do, and this is something that Tara and I decided earlier this year, is we want to associate ourselves with the right brands. So we are focusing on collaborating with Audi Club, with Porsche Club, with Triple Zero Magazine, with Porsche AG. So we were recently, our car was featured by Porsche AG in their Sonderwunsch inspiration on their website. So they've selected certain customer builds, and ours is one of them. But primarily, it's Instagram that we post. We are fortunate enough to be printed or be involved in print media, so we'll be working with several publications, including Audi Club. Otherwise, that's and we keep in touch with our friends through all the WhatsApp chats that we have that Tara talks about, for the RS2 or the RS4 or the RS6, or even now we have a GT Porsche WhatsApp chat for owners of PTS Sonderwunsch builds.
Nice. Um, before we wrap things up, any shout outs to any of your build partners, photographers, any folks in the local community? Anybody you want to give a shout out to?
Absolutely right. So we do want to thank all the companies that we have had the good fortune, Tara and I have had to collaborate. Starting with when we started the build with the RS6, from Euro tuning to Turn 14 to IND, Venturi. We have had Draptech for the body kit, Void Engineering. We've had who else, babe? I'm sure I'm missing Speed Sport Tuning for the RS2. Several folks who've been involved with us through these projects. European Performance for our air cooled Porsches, Porsche Clearwater for our water cooled Porsches. Photographers, local photographers that we've had the good fortune working with. Mille, Mikey, Dimitri, Rock, Chase, Mille, and then of course Instagram handles that we work with, like Porsche Culture, Audi Club, Porsche Club. So I think I may have covered, but Tara, did I miss anybody? Yeah. But most importantly, we appreciate the opportunity with Audi Club. And Joe, thank you for your time. Chris and the team, you guys have been very gracious for this opportunity. So we truly, from the bottom of our heart, appreciate it.
Absolutely. I appreciate you both joining us today, sharing your stories, sharing your cars, your inspiration, your philosophy. It's been our pleasure, and it's fantastic. For the folks that are watching, you can check out even more coverage coming up soon in our Q1 2026 issue of Quattro Magazine. There'll also be information on the Audi Club North America blog about Tara and Nish and their cars. So keep an eye out for that. And for our listeners, if they're not yet a member of the world's largest Audi community, like myself, like Nish, like Tara, Look for more information in the description of this video. Learn more about all the benefits to becoming an Audi Club member. Thank you again, Nish and Tara, for joining. Thank you to our listeners, and we'll see you again next time. Thank you.